today I'm just going to share with you a really nice little flow, a little stretch to get into the hamstrings, the lower back, and just kind of like ease everything off and try and release everything that's feeling really tight and really tense. So we're going to start down in child's pose. Just bringing the big toes to touch with that slight gap in the knees and just taking the head straight down, forehead down into the mat and just extending the arms. Just settling in here, so just maybe swaying the hips very slightly from side to side and just finding that release, and then just spending a few moments here just to settle into the breath and the body. So as you inhale, bringing all the way down the spine into the hips. As you exhale, release. From here, just walking the hands over towards the right, letting the left hand just go a little bit higher than the right hand. So really lengthening down the left hand side of the body. And then walking the hands over to the left. Noticing if there's any tension in the jaw and in the neck, and just releasing and just relaxing. And coming back to centre, making your way onto all fours. So coming in to our cat and cow. So just taking it to an angle here for you. We're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, round. At this point, putting any movement in that feels good. So it might just feel a little bit better to just take a bit of movement here. So inhale, drop. Sometimes it's really nice just to sway into the hips, just to release that lower back. Exhale, round. So just make any movements. It might feel good to bend into the arms as you're doing this as well. So inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, round. From here, coming back to neutral, just taking the hips back, coming in to a figure of 8. So imagine that you're drawing a figure of 8 with the hips. Pausing at any point if it feels good, maybe coming back round the other way. And then coming back to neutral in our 4-point kneeling. Taking the right foot forward, coming into our half split. So keeping the chest lifted, nice and high. Just taking it round here. Keep the chest lifted. Really start to lengthen into the hamstring. So we're walking the hands back. If it's too much, you can take some books, some blocks. Even if you've got, say, dumbbells or weights, just taking them underneath your hands for that extra stability. If your hamstrings are a little bit more open, then just taking the hands down here. Trying to keep the chest lifted, so try not to round over at the shoulders. Just taking whatever time you need here. It might be that you want to stay here for a little bit longer, or it might be a little bit much. Release. Coming on to the other side, so left foot forward. Remembering to keep those left toes flexed up towards the ceiling, really getting into that hamstring. Again, just working out that hand position. Maybe we do need to be a little bit higher up, or maybe we can take those hands down by the side. So again, really trying to relax into the shoulders, the neck. If this is a bit too much with the legs straight, then you can take a very slight bend in the knee, if that works. And release. Coming back onto all fours, crossing over at the ankles. We're going to come down onto our backs. We're going to bring the right leg straight up, seeing if you can clasp hold of the back of the calf or the ankle, or maybe the outside of the foot, and just gently start to bring the knee down into the armpit. So just really lengthening, take that left leg down to the floor. So we're lengthening the hamstring here, we're also opening out the hip at the same time. So really guiding that leg down, keeping that right knee nice and soft, coming into almost like a half happy baby pose. Breathing here. And release, come down onto the left. I'm just going to show you just from this angle. So right leg goes out, left leg pick it up, catching hold again, either the back of the calf, the ankle, or to the outside of the left foot. Just guiding that knee, so the left knee comes down in towards the left armpit. So you're feeling a real stretch in this left hamstring. There's a really nice opening in the left hip. Try and keep the whole of the back pressed down into the ground. So really feel the tailbone grounded down into the floor. Taking one more breath. And release. So make your way over to your front this time. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders, just taking a few rounds of our cobra. So being careful not to press too much into the hands. What we don't want to do is push into the hands and push up. The weight, the hands should literally just be hovered on the ground. We just inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower. I'll just show you from the side. Again, so hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, shoulders come back. So what we don't want to do is bring the shoulders forwards. The shoulders are almost melting down the back. It's a nice stretch for the lower back. Feel the glutes engage. Exhale, release. One more time. This time hovering the hands off the floor. So there's no weight in the hands whatsoever. Taking a really nice bend into that lower back. Exhale, release. Coming up into our Sphinx pose this time. So just taking the hands underneath, the elbows underneath the shoulders. So stacking the elbows underneath the shoulders. The hands are in a number 11 shape, fingers spread nice and wide. Again, taking that nice lower back stretch, keeping the chest and the neck lifted. If that's enough, just staying here and enjoying that. If it's available, maybe straightening those arms as soon as you start to feel any pinching in the lower back though, coming down onto the elbows again. Again, just playing with whatever variation works here for you. As you take exhale, press into the hands, just coming back into our child's pose. This time bringing the hands down by the heels, forehead down, just rounding into that lower back. So just countering those back bends by rounding into the lower back. And then coming up, tucking the toes. We're just going to straighten the legs and come in to our ragdoll. So just keep the knees nice and soft, catching hold of either elbow, coming into that ragdoll, maybe swaying from side to side, relaxing the head and the neck. The upper body is completely hanging loose at this point. Keeping a nice generous bend into the knees, releasing off those hamstrings. We're trying to take the chest down to the thighs, so bending the knees as much as you need to get this. And then just releasing the arms, the hands, slowly rolling up to standing. Head and neck are last to come up. And then find your mountain pose. So taking the big toes to touch with a slight gap in the heels. Inhale, float the hands up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Again, releasing the hamstrings. Inhale, lift the chest, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen through the spine, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to plant the hands, so bend the knees as much as you need to be able to plant the hands. You're going to step back into a plank pose. From here you're going to drop down onto the knees, bend the elbows lower all the way down onto the floor. Inhale, press up into cobra, or this time maybe taking upward facing dog, so lifting the thighs, lifting the knees. As you exhale, you're going to tuck the toes, you're going to come into a downward facing dog. So taking the hands shoulder width apart, taking the feet about hip width apart, any movement that you need, so pedaling the feet, twisting the hips. Remembering, if those heels never touch the floor, we don't force them, we don't push them. The aim is that we find length in the spine and in the hips. So if the knees are bent, the heels are lifted, that's absolutely fine. Take the gaze between the ankles or the knees, press into the hands, lengthen through the spine. Inhale. Exhale, dropping down onto the knees, finding child's pose one last time. Really pressing that forehead down into the mat. Bringing that heart rate back down, slowing the breath. And just resting here as long as you need. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that found some release in the lower back and the hamstrings. Take whatever time you need to move through that flow. I went through it really quickly just to get everything in for you. But it's sometimes nicer just to kind of play with the movements and see what feels nice for your body. Maybe moving the hips, maybe being a bit more fluid, moving with the breath. And again, maybe holding the poses for a little bit longer or holding in a certain position if that feels good for you. Again, if you have any questions at all, then please either leave me a comment below or send me a message and I will always try to help you. Thank you so much. Namaste.